Hey guys. Yeah, the last time we covered all of the other stuff right here, and now we're going to talk about the spot healing brush tool, the healing brush tool, the patch tool, the content aware move tool, and the red eye tool. A lot of you will need these tools if you want to pimp up your photographs, especially when it comes to faces and all this um, things. Right? So I've prepared two pictures for this lecture. Basically, this is just a vacation snapshot I just did last autumn, at the end of summer mostly. And this one I found on the net, which is mostly perfect for what I want to show you. It will work really good for at least one of the tools. So we're going to start off with the spot healing brush tool, and how it says it is a brush tool. And so our first option up here is the brush options. You can define the size, you can define the hardness and spacing. An angle is not necessary since we mostly now work in with a round brush. The size, well, it depends on what area you're working on. If I would work on the foreground area here, this might be a bit small, but if I zoom in, this might be the right size to work with. The second option we have is the hardness. If you work on replacing things or copy and paste stuff, the hardness will define your the edges of what you copy or what you replace. So if you want it really hard edge, just put it on 100. But remember, the softer you put it, the more it will be phased out, if that makes sense, like a gradient almost. So I will just leave it at 100% for now. And the spacing as well I will leave as it is. We have a pen pressure option right here as a size. You can use the stylus wheel pen pressure, same as what this icon does up here. If you should work with a Wacom tablet, a graphic tablet, it doesn't have to be Wacom, but in any case, you should you can put this option in, and the pressure you will put on your pen will define the brush size, right? So you can actually, while you are working without making any clicks or whatever, you can just define the size of your brush, which is pretty convenient in a way. The mode, I will just leave it on normal for now. I'm going in another lecture. I will go through all this stuff, what this means. Latest when we come to layers, we have to work with those options anyway. So for now, I will just leave it on normal. We have three options right here. Content aware does not make too much sense for me in this tool, because it basically, how its name says already, it tries to stay aware of the content you are marking, right? Creating a texture, I don't understand this one neither, because what it does is it basically puts on right, a texture, which is, I don't know. You can change the texture, I think, but I will just leave it on proximity match, and you should too. Or you will find a reason to use the others. So basically, what I'm going to do right now, and you will see later, there's a bit of a difference between the tools. So right now, I want to remove the rails right here, the track. And what this tool does is you don't have, probably some of you know the clone stamp tool or the healing brush tool. Here you don't have to put a source, it will automatically searches for a source on its own. Sometimes it does it pretty well. Now you can see it took something from the white here. I don't know if that is smart, but you have to work a bit carefully. You see, if you work sloppy and the faster you work, the more it will screw up your picture. So if you work really fine and let's just go back to our initial. If you work really carefully, it will actually do a pretty good job, right? And I'm already in a 300% right here. I didn't use the best camera I have, but if you zoom out now, you can barely notice any of this blue stuff right here. right? You can do it by clicking or just keep the mouse clicked, the mouse button, right? But see, the faster you get, the more sloppy it works, and it doesn't look good anymore. Anyway, let's just continue right here. So, yeah, this is basically what it does. You can also work on the face and areas. Right, I just have, you see, you can just draw over it, and it will have all these areas removed. It's like magic, right? So what we do right now is we just go back to our initial and move on with the healing brush tool. Here again, you have the option of, it is a brush tool. Let's just leave it as it is. Sample the pattern. I don't know why you would put a pattern here because it looks pretty weird, and you can. I don't know what this. It is basically like the texture one before. It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it has some. I think it is in for a reason, but I can't find it. So what you do here is basically here you manually have to put a source, which gives you a bit more control over what you do compared to the healing brush tool, the spot healing brush tool, right? So by clicking Alt, you will basically set the source, and if I keep the mouse clicked, I see a small cross where I put the source, right? So I can do just single clicks, but it will always take the cross. You see it here. It stays where it is, where I put it from. Um, Another way to do it is I'll just make it a bit slightly smaller. I put the source here, go over it, and now I just drag it. I'm not working with my tablet right now. Maybe I should, but it's just for you get the point. You see, and now the cross, you can see it here on the side. If I set it new, like if I start new, it will go back to the initial point where I set it. But if you just click it once, it will go with you on the same side. You see the cross on the right next to my cursor. If I go to the right now, you know, I think you get the point right now. It's also maybe a good way if you want to move stuff around, right? You could just work like this. I don't know if it is a good way, but try to play around with it to get an idea of how it works, and you will very fast get a feeling for what it does. And here's the same thing. You just put a source and put over it. Same as with the basically the same thing like the clone stamp tool, most likely. I think they just work with different algorithms. So yeah, this is basically it. It is a pretty powerful tool, a good tool to use, and yeah, just keep it as it is. And the options, put it on sample or normal. Define the brush size depending on the picture you work on. The sample again, I put it on current layer. You can, if you work on different layers, sometimes you end up with 50 layers maybe, depending on what you do or work on. Put this picture just away, it's kind of annoying. And you can also work on all layers, but it will get confused. So if you want to work with the full control and really just do what you want to do, just keep it on current layer. If you don't find a reason to do it not, well then. Anyway, let's just move on quickly to the patch tool, which is also pretty great. And what you can do here is, I will just, yeah, we'll work on this picture again. Here we have different options, right? You probably know all this here. This is a selection tool, and we worked with selection tools earlier, if you remember. And mostly you select an area. Once your selection is done, you can add stuff by pressing Shift. You see the small plus on the cursor, and you can remove stuff from your selection by pressing Alt. You can also use this icons here to subtract, add, or whatever you want to do. Intersect too. I don't know if there is a hotkey for intersect, but you can do it by the icon too. Patch, I would just keep it on normal again because we want to replace stuff, right? We want to get rid of some stuff. We don't want to copy it. So what we do again is um, here we have two options, which is I'll just leave transparent off for now. We have source and destination, and what it does, I will show it to you right quick. You make a selection, and now you just move it away by clicking it on the side, and it will put, so this is our source, and remove our source to our destination, which basically copies it. This is one thing you can do with it, but most people probably use this tool by source. So we want to renew our source, right? We don't want to get it to any destination. We just want to change it. And now see, it's magic. So you just move it over and basically copy the area we are working on. Isn't this great too? And now you saw what I did, and this is pretty smart in Photoshop. This shows really off what Photoshop is good, and why this software just costs so much money, because it is so intelligent. Um, see, I basically put this, and it remembers this is a bright area. I could just move it here, obviously, to make it easier. But even though Photoshop doesn't care, you can just move it to a dark area and will brighten it up because it remembered it is bright, right? So it will not forget where you put the stuff in. And this is really really smart of Photoshop. You see, I put the new source being in the bright area, and it darkens it up to match the previous, right? And you can't well, he obviously you can't tell because I made it pretty bad, but here in the dark area you can't tell, right? And this is really really good of Photoshop. So, and again here you can do the same thing, just I mean, this what I just showed you just helps to I could, this is a bit darker, the area, a bit reddish. I put it in the pink area and will automatically try to color correct it properly to match the previous thing. This is a pretty good way to get rid of stuff, and you can also do stupid stuff and play around with it, but I don't know why you would do that. So anyway, you can play around with it, and these three tools are really really powerful when it comes to retouching photos, and especially to retouch faces or whatever you need to retouch, right? To make them better. Content aware move tool. Well, I didn't found a good opportunity to use it. I just gonna quickly show you what it does. Um, it has two options. Again, it is a selection tool, so you have to add and select by add and subtract by Shift and Alt, or using those icons again, like in the previous tool. You have the two options, move or extend, and adaptation is strict or very strict. It just defines how sloppy or how precisely it should work. So I want to move the spikes over here and just leave it. It will work a bit, and it replaced it. Like, it's not like you copied it, because if I would have copied it, I would have four bikes right now. If I would have cut it out before, I would have a white area here. So he tries to be very smart and replaces this area um, with something which looks what Photoshop thinks it would look like, which is pretty smart actually. If I go away here, I mean, it's not too bad done, right? And I choose compared to the whole picture, I choose a pretty big area still to do this stuff. If you do it on smaller things, you could probably end up with a better result, right? The other thing it can do is extending, right? So I could take this bench, probably extend it to here, and what it does, it's magic again, and it's Photoshop being very very smart. You see, I just extend it, and I know it looks weird, but you can't tell, and this is pretty powerful. I don't know if you have a use for it or not. It doesn't matter to me actually. I'm just gonna show you what the tools can do and what you make out of it, or if you find a reason to use them. I'm happy for you guys, and I hope you understand the tools a bit better right now. So try to play around with it again, extend and or yeah, just move it. I could use this guy. I should probably zoom in for this. I'm just playing around right now. So yeah, Photoshop being very smart. You could play it on the sky actually if you move clouds. Well, it did it pretty well actually too, right? You can't tell if I would remove this cloud. The only thing which bothers me is if you move stuff, you should add a new layer. This would probably an invention for the next Photoshop for this tool. Um, anyway, this is it. Yeah, what's left is basically just the red eye tool, how you see, and the pupil size. Just leave it as it is for now, and you would, you know, there was a time where you had to select this area and darken it or whatever. There are different ways to do different things, and there are different ways to do the similar things. And Photoshop has a lot of tools where you can get the same result with, but you have to figure out which works best for you and which works in the most convenient way. This is a pretty new option. I don't remember quite well when they put it into Photoshop, but this is great. So just see at this, look at this. You all had this error of red eyes once. I also make photography lectures where I talk about image errors, how to avoid them, or just technique and physics behind photography. If you subscribe to this channel, you will from time to time you will see some of these videos. If I have some spare time, I will do them. But anyway, for now, we'll just go with it. And yeah, we just click, you know, and play around with it, and you see where this goes. If you find a good spot, just try to find the most red spot. I don't know if you can see, depending on your screen probably, this goes a bit purple or a pink almost. If you put in this area, it won't work well, I guess. Yeah, you see it won't work. But if I put on the reddest point, it will usually darken down the whole thing, and this is amazing. And again, it's Photoshop magic, and this is almost done. I mean, this is obviously just a part of a full picture. So, you know, darken amount, you can even put them darker or brighter depending on, it's a bit weird if you put them pitch black, but try to play around with it, and you will see where it goes. So I think I made it pretty clear how these tools work. If you have any questions, just drop me a message or put a comment, and I will review it, and I'll possibly make another video or just answer you in a quick comment or in a private message back then. If you're watching this live, you can also always write in the channel, and I will see what I can do for you guys. Okay, that's it for me. That's it for now. I mean, next time we have a bit bigger topic, which is the brush tool, the pencil tool, the color replacement tool, the mixer brush tool, and there's still a long way to go to come through our toolbar, and then we still have everything up here, which also gives a lot of stuff to play with, and we also have the right space here, which can be bigger because you have a lot of things you can still add, a lot of windows you can still add. I will go through everything when the time comes, but it will take me a while since this is a lot. But anyway, I hope you liked it, and yeah, see you soon, guys.